Hello and welcome to Got Clutter Get Organized, the conversation. I am so excited because we have Karissa Barker and this is her book, The Home Reset. And I can't wait to just kind of get into a conversation. I mean, when I saw this book, I was like, yes, this is what is needed because, I've gone to those home shows thinking I could get a tip or a strategy. And this is really for anybody who has a home, no matter how big or small. And that's what I like about it. So, Carissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I my hope for the book is that no matter where you live, there will be very actionable, practical tips because we could all use a little help in making our households run more smoothly. So, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, was there an inspiration or something that just motivated you just to write this book? I mean, you've got so many wonderful, just practical, basic tips that I think some of us, I mean, I grew up in a house where a lot of these tips were used, but it seems like somehow when I got my own house, I just didn't do them anymore. So, what was your motivation?
So, that exactly what you just said was my motivation because I felt that way also. My mom was an amazing homemaker, but honestly, I just took it for granted and was playing outside and doing kid stuff and got into adulthood and felt the same that you do. Like, what am I doing? Is everyone making this up or am I the only one that doesn't really know? And I started posting content surrounding these very, very practical and everyday tips around homemaking and being more organized and running your household more smoothly. And to my surprise, it really resonated with other people. And I realized we are not alone and we all kind of are just making it up as we go because things like home ec are not things that we're taught anymore. Um, very often. So that was my main motivation. And then I also, you mentioned going to home shows and seeing these beautiful ideas. I love home books, homemaking and design. And when I would read organization books, it would be so beautiful. I would try to organize a closet to look the same, and then it wouldn't stay that way. And I was like, I must be missing something. So when I set out to write the book, I wanted it to be practical and have advice for systems that would actually like keep those spaces organized and kind of focus more on habits and systems instead of just the picture perfect closet or drawer pictures.
And I mean, I love the book because it's like practical things you can do. I mean, I went to this section because it's like, okay, yes, that time I need to clean the curtains. And then you have like two different versions. Like you got the machine, you can wash in the machine, or, I still remember my mother would because they were like the nice little sheer curtains, you would just put them in the tub. And it's just so nice, these little practical steps. So I guess my question is, are there habits? Because these are really good tips and strategies. So, are there things that maybe we need to let go of, Carissa, in regards to if we do want to get to this place? Um, is it, do we have to let go of things in our time? Do we have to let go of the perfectionism? What are some of the things you feel that we need to let go of in order to really create like this home?
I love this question. And I do think perfectionism, that's a great point that we get stuck on. And this mentality that we have to do everything all at once. Like for our home to feel more organized, everything needs to be picture perfect. Every closet and drawer and everything um, needs to all be organized and in everything in its place. But that can really hold us back from taking really small, actionable steps and focusing on our habits. So I think just the all at once mentality we could let go of and make space for just tiny, everyday practical changes. And when I focused on that, I really started to notice that when my habits fell more in line with how I wanted to live in my house and feel more calm and at peace, and like I knew where things were, starting little and focusing on habits was really, really a big game changer for me.
And I think that's what you really come up with. Your book is like the different habits, different routines. And I guess my next question is, of course, in addition to getting your book, see, it's the home reset, people. um, Somebody who's maybe listening, watching, thinking, you know what, I hear what she's saying. I still remember all of those things that my mother used to do, grandmother used to do. How should they get started without getting overwhelmed?
Yeah. Um, It can feel so overwhelming. I think just taking one small step at a time. And a good place to start might be where you feel the most overwhelmed. So maybe it's right when you walk in the door when you get home and there's shoes everywhere and five extra coats hanging on the coat rack, and you toss your keys somewhere, but every time you leave, they're in a different spot and you don't know where they are. If that feels so overwhelming to you, maybe start with one step, and that is even getting like a command hook that sticks to the wall. And that's where you hang your keys. And that's the habit that you're going to focus on for the week. Or maybe it's your kitchen counters and you look at it and you're like, I want to enjoy my kitchen and cook and know where things are, but it's so overwhelming that I don't even know where to start. Maybe start with one corner of your kitchen counter and say, okay, right here is going to be where I make my coffee, and it's going to be clear and only have the things that I need, and like clear out a drawer underneath, and that's where your coffee supplies go. And then you start your morning every day with a little space that's set up easier, and you will be so surprised by how that just trickles into every other aspect of using that room just naturally. I read a lot on habits, and one of my favorite quotes in Atomic Habits is the book by James Clear, and I'm totally going to butcher it, but the idea and the philosophy behind his quote is, and one of the biggest takeaways from the book is, every action is a vote for the you that you want to be or the you that you're becoming. So that really translates well into how we live in our home and organize our home. When we have a little space in the morning, like space on the counter for coffee that's clear, you first thing in the morning you're like, oh, I have an organized little coffee space, I'm an organized person, and I should put this next thing away, and then it just like is a snowball effect for your whole house.
And I agree with you because you're right. Sometimes you do get overwhelmed. But if you focus on one area, because my area right now is like my dining room area, I wanted a different look, a different feel. And so I just focused on it. I focused on the table, getting some pretty plates. Then I'm focusing on redoing a piece of furniture that belonged to my mother, but I'm going to refocus, stain it so it'll match, some of the other furniture. So you're right, just doing a little bit at a time. But you're right, when you have those habits and those routines, it really kind of helps you because one of the things I read in your book, which is why I know we are kindred spirits, is the night routine where you like, I'm going to clean the counter off, I'm going to sweep the floor, put the dishes away, wash the dishes. And I was like, yes, that is what you do. I just got so excited. I know those watching and listening may think, what is going on? But yes, I got excited. So, Karissa, with everything that you do, how do you stay organized? Because your wife, your mother, you're an author.
I really just focus on habits and systems. I know I keep saying the same words over and over, and that's kind of what my book revolves around. But just routines that are easy to maintain. And I use checklists a lot and like visual reminders. I struggle with ADHD, and it really helps me to have a visual reminder. And then I've noticed with my kids as they've gotten older, having those visual reminders. So, like, okay, what do we have on the list for today? How do we reset this space? And I'll use like a little reset card, and my kids can go through and check off things as they go. So, just focusing on rhythms and routines that fit into our life instead of trying to bend our life to working every day to just have a perfect house. I kind of let go of that perfectionism and just design my life around how I want to live in my house.
And that's reflected in the book because you have some wonderful, first of all, the visuals. See, she's got a little checklist in here. The photos in here are just fabulous. I think of this almost as, even though I know it's something that a resource that'll help us stay on track of all the things we need to do in our home. But I also feel like this is almost like a coffee table book because it's just because it's just so beautiful. I mean, the pictures, the layout. She's got the habits of what you do with the laundry, even putting away the laundry basket, just something as simple as that. She's got a laundry schedule. She's got a weekly schedule. I mean, there's so many wonderful resources in it. And I love the little cleaning challenge, just how you kind of go through. I made my bed. I put my dirty clothes in the hamper. Those are nice and little fun things. And She also has some seasonal resets in here because I think we all can use that because when it comes to the seasons, we get a little confused as to what we should do and how we should do it and when we should do it. So she's got all these wonderful little checklists, and she's even have printables where you can scan this QR code and you can download all the printables. So telling you, see, I'm gonna show it again because it's a really great book. And you know what? I was thinking, Karissa, this is a nice book for like maybe somebody who's just starting out. I'm thinking about all the kids who graduated from college. Maybe they get their first home apartment and they're just starting out. This is a good book, or even somebody who just gets that first home. But again, what I really loved about this book is it's really just targeted to the home. It's not about having, so many thousand square feet, whatever size your home is. And I think sometimes those of us who are in apartments and condos, sometimes we get kind of left out of the whole thing. So I really love this book. So how can people get a copy of this? And actually, I'm just going to suggest you should get two because see, once you get a copy, once you get a
Thank
copy,
you.
you're gonna be like, oh, this makes I mean, this is really a nice little gift. See, I gotta show it one more
Yeah.
time because I'm just in love with the book. I'm just going through. I can see myself on my days when I'd have my do nothing days, Carissa. I'm just gonna go through the book and I'm gonna just use this as a way to create my own little like plan for a coming week of things I need to focus on. So because I'm making my home because now on the East Coast it's going to get a little colder, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna get cozy inside. So I might as well have my home to look and feel the way I want. But how can people connect with you? How can they get a copy of your book? Two copies, people. You hear me say
Yeah, two
two.
copies. Might as well. Thank you for the kind words. I am so glad that you enjoy it. I am selling my book on anywhere that you buy books. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, that type of thing. So just search The Home Reset by Karissa Barker and you'll be able to find it. And then carissaAtHome.com. And Karissa at Home is my social handle on pretty much every social channel. So you can connect with me there. I share content that revolves around remodel and homemaking and these habits and systems that we talked about for making home life more simple and beautiful. So you can connect with me there also.
And of course, I will have all of her social media handles in the show page. And I also want to let you know she has a bathroom cleaning arsenal. See, then I got excited when I saw this. 'Cause I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna see because I think this for me because I'm realizing I'm going through a lot of allergies, so I'm really kind of looking for alternatives that are more natural. So when I saw this, I said, oh yes, I got so excited. So she's got
Okay.
all this in here, and it's called, she's got a quick. I mean, I could just go on and on and on, but it is a home reset. So how many of you need to reset your home now that we're in a new season? But also
Mhm.
maybe you know somebody else who would also need this as well. So Carissa, thank you so much for your time. It has been a joy, and I'm going to continue enjoying reading this book. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been an honor.